Oh, say, can you see by the dawn? Hey, 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 hey. This ain't no game. Swing the remix guard. Hey, 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 hey.
What's your name?
My name is Marianne Hettinger.
What's your favorite cooking spice?
My favorite cooking spice is cinnamon. And as for salty stuff, pepper.
When you hear the phrase, united we stand, divided we fall, what does that mean to you?
United means that we want to be together. Whenever you feel you're separate from another person, you get into trouble. Because then you're judging, you're not part of me, who are you? This is where all the trouble starts in the first place. So when we're united, we're all part of the same human experience, and we all work together to achieve something. We have compassion for each other, and we can achieve so much more than if we're separate from each other, and that's where all the problems in the world start, that we think you're different from me, and all this judgment. But very, very important that we united we stand.
Fabulous. I work with TFKTWA, training foster kids to work with animals. Our dual mission is to prepare kids who are about to age out of the foster care system for adulthood and help animals at the same time. These kids soon will be getting their own apartment for the first time. What cooking advice would you give them?
So, I'm a chocolate freak. I love chocolate. And when you get a new apartment, usually you will have a fridge and an ice box. So all you need for this recipe is an ice box, a bowl, and a spoon to whip it up, and then a little bit of the cooking paper where you can put the sauce in. So I'm making my own chocolate from scratch. A lot of people eat too much sweets, like I did, and it's not so healthy. So I have healthy ingredients. I put in half a cup of cocoa powder, half a cup of peanut butter, if you can, organic, but any peanut butter will do that doesn't have too much sugar in it. Then you can put a couple of dates in it, but since you want it fluid, it's really good. What's that from the tree? The sweet stuff.
Peppermint?
No, the other thing.
Syrup?
It's a maple syrup. Maple syrup. We want to put in maple syrup. You can put a little bit of sea salt and vanilla extract. Very simple, just a few ingredients. Then you're going to stir it up, and it becomes this really nice chocolatey mousse. And then in order to freeze it, you want to put a little coconut oil, maybe half a cup too. It depends how much you want to make. So all of this, you just stir it, and then you put it in a bowl. You put a little bit of that paper so it doesn't stick to the outside of the bowl. And then you can spice it up on top. You can put some blueberries or raspberries or some nuts. And then you put it in the freezer for about an hour, and then out comes this amazing chocolate cake. And you need a good knife, I forgot that, to be able to, you can also break it apart and just sink your teeth into it. So if you love chocolate, you can make your own. It's actually cheaper than if you buy a bunch of chocolate bars. And especially at night when I get the munchies, this is still healthy because you don't have the white sugar in it. And you can just make this really nice chocolate tart.
Thank you.
Hey, hey,
Sorry. Got a lot on my plate.
You don't even have a husband.
Oh, Victoria's shooting her own talk show.
Stop the pretzel! Pull it up, pull it up! Hot! Hot!
After the fiasco with ESPN, who the hell's gonna come to my show?
Well, so then how come Max Bauer wants to see you?
Who?
Our former Olympic ski jumping star, Max Bauer, became the third celebrity to be voted off Gone to the Dogs.
Max, the mallard?
Mm-hmm.
You're kidding!
No.
No, Max! Oh my God! Mr. Bauer.
You can call me Max.
Max.
Yeah.
It's better than a dream. Finally, a nice, wholesome guy. He has such a strong set of teeth.
Wow. It feels like we've known each other for lifetimes.
Now you're marrying some guy you don't even know.
He's not some guy. He is Max Bauer.
I got a riddle for you smart people.
Max, please don't.
She always have to prove she can make everything work.
It's very hard for a big star to live in such a tiny space.
Hi, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
Will you introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure. I'm Marianne Hettinger. I'm a filmmaker, actor, dancer, choreographer, director, writer, human being.
Renaissance woman.
Pardon me?
A Renaissance woman.
That's right. That's right.
So I just recently watched your film, Prince Harming. I found it very interesting. I found you have a very, in my opinion, a 70s, early 70s, and the European, mixed with a European style. There was 3 scenes in particular that I want to share with the audience, and then I want to talk to you about. Let's see the first scene right now. Right now, here's a scene from Prince Harming.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome. And now, what comes the big surprise?
Oh, surprise. Surprise, okay.
Ready? Set.
But
This is Max's great new art installation.
You should check out the one on the wall. Here.
Max has reinvented himself as a serious artist.
is that you?
Yeah.
It's CP.
I'm thinking of, exhibiting at an art gallery, maybe a museum. All you need is connections.
Yeah. And Max has always been very daring. That's what he was famous for at the Long Hill.
Daring. That's rather
Enzo, whatever happened to your penny stocks?
Well, I invested in some more.
Hey, I got a stock tip for you.
All right.
Picking up pennies off the street. I mean, it's more lucrative. My penny stock is already up by $3.68.
That's really up.
Check out Max's Légumes à la Bauer.
Oh.
It's all raw.
Oh, it's raw? You're a raw foodist? All right, sit down.
I mean, cooking makes food toxic, right? Besides, I'd like to maintain high vibrations.
Yeah. Let's go for it.
Well, thanks for having us over.
Yeah, I'll go to the hands.
That's really good. The sprinkle of what are those?
Oh, that's almonds and Brazil nuts.
Thank God.
Funda nuts.
Max chopped them by hand.
With my special knife.
Wow, thank you. It's really very creative.
Creativity is the ski jumping hill of my soul. And as an artist, I like to break stifling rules and to achieve gobsmacking jumps.
What do you want to do here in terms of work?
I'm thinking of.
You could make a ton as a ski instructor. That's a great.
Now, I'm not going to teach the snowplow to like snot-nosed brats, right?
Now, you remember Eddie the Eagle?
Uh-huh.
He still earns a living making live appearances.
I don't want anybody to know who I am.
Okay. Well,
I don't think you'll have a problem with that in New York. I mean, that's like no.
And besides, I mean, I have nothing in common with the worst ski jumper in history. I mean, who still runs around supermarkets in a chicken suit.
Yeah, he's a world champion.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, what were you thinking of doing then?
Well, I see myself like selling my work to art collectors or museums. MoMA wouldn't be bad, right? I mean, don't you have connections there?
I think he means MOBA.
So what's MoMA?
It's a museum of it's a gallery of unusual art.
Like what?
Like there's a painting that mocks the George Seurat painting that the musical setting in the park with George is based on. Oh. Yeah, it's this fat guy sitting on the toilet, and it's called Sunday on the Pot with George.
MoMA, Museum of Bad Art. I mean, there's no need to beat around the bush. I mean, I can take it.
Blanche, you just can't appreciate the unconventional.
Vicky, it's okay. Because today's bad art is tomorrow's good art.
can't wait for tomorrow.
My art is avant-garde. That's something small-minded bourgeois people wouldn't understand.
So, Max and I are shooting a film.
Unlaid eggs.
Boy, it's like you guys were made for each other. When did you know that...
Oh, actually, it's a weird story how we ended up.
I got a weird story for you. I was in Mexico in an area called Cuatlaxcuapan, which means when serpents change their skin. And my wife, the bitch, without any warning, just kicks me out. And I start walking on the street, and I come to this tiny mountain village. It's high noon, there's not a soul abroad, and then I hear this pen.
Max, please don't.
Max, please don't.
It's so sad.
Oh, it's so sad. Why did you focus on my ass instead, huh?
Max, I think you've had enough to drink.
I got a riddle for you smart people. A lion chases you. How fast do you have to run so you don't get eaten? I thought you were so smart. How to be second slowest. Fuck that shit, man.
So to me, the thing that struck me about that scene is I think that it's so relatable because everyone's either been on one side of that table or the other. Another thing about that scene that I couldn't stop looking at was the photo in the dresser, which is also addressed in the scene, that it makes the guest uncomfortable. And to me, it was so symbolic of the relationship and what was going on. The characters were in that room. I could not look at that. Was that on purpose?
Oh, of course. So the film shows how this woman who falls in love with her Prince Charming, who slowly reveals his other side, how she compromises herself, but not because she's a weak person. She falls in love with someone who is so loving, and then she gives her power away bit by bit. So this was very difficult for me to show the audience how this woman slowly gives herself up. This was the first step. By him recreating his image, he was a famous ski jumper, and now he's an artist, and he wants to reinvent himself in New York. So he has this contrived art, but the art that he's making, besides being horrible, bad taste, is he uses it to control this woman further and humiliate her. So this is the first time where she gives her power away. Even though she is an artist and she has good taste, she goes with it. She wants to support him. She humiliates herself by letting herself be part of his artwork, and being in that dresser. And he takes the picture. Now, the dinner scene you're talking about is a further degradation of her. At first, she thinks, oh, it's cool, I don't want to be prude, there's a lot of nudity in art anyway, and so she goes with it. And these are her best friends that are coming, but she kind of, for the first time, sees through the eyes of her friends that this is too much, this is embarrassing, and this is the first time, I think, she actually sees herself reflected in the eyes of her friends. Because at first she was lying to herself, oh, everything is okay, let me just go with it. I love this guy, and he gradually becomes more abusive and inappropriate, and he's tipsy, he's drunk, but she's still excusing his behavior. He's drunk. But she's also quite embarrassed with the revelation of this art that he wants to exhibit.
I think that that struck a chord with me, and I think a lot of people who had watched that scene, or who just watched that scene, as I said, you've been on one side of that table or the other, a lot of people, and I've seen friends in those kind of relationships where I was on the side of the friend, watching this happen and seeing the friend partner be really drunk, or sometimes my friend was the boyfriend, who was the one who was being the drunk. I don't want to give too much away, but the humiliation factor, there's other parts of the movie where I think it's part of the dynamic of the relationship, where he's very manipulative, and which gets me to another scene that I'd like to discuss, and I'd like to show a clip from the movie. So let's play that clip.
Just want to jump one more time. Just want to jump one more time.
Okay, then, you can do it again. Just jump
I'm 50
again.
years old.
I know what you're going through.
What do you know what I'm going through? I mean, you've never been a world champion in anything.
I know. You're a hero. You're their hero.
I will never have kids again.
Where's Pedia? He was right there.
Who?
When Dad went on his benders, Pedia and I would look at the night sky and tell each other fairy tales.
You mean the ugly head with a patch of clothing?
He made up for his weird looks with the best heart and then a kindness.
I think I'll throw it out cleaning.
No, 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 no!
You're so stupid. You spare yourself going to the garbage like a homeless person looking for it. Look, I got you on camera. How about that? Huh? Oh, what are you gonna do, huh? What? I'm gonna be upset, oh poor baby. Oh yeah, okay. If you had run off like a fucking loser, I would have could have told you I'd throw it out months ago. That's what you get. That's what you get. Payback time.
Back out!
You are such a drama queen.
I want you to pack your bags and leave.
Yeah, could I talk to Miss Tim, please? She's where? A silent retreat? No message, thank you.
No! How can this happen to me? Oh, damn it!
Why are you still here?
I erased our entire movie file by mistake.
I don't care!
Get out!
Why didn't I back it up in iCloud? And I gotta tell a fucking idiot!
And I'm the drama
Oh, help! Oh, my foot, my toe! It hurts. It hurts. Can you give me some ice, please? Oh, look.
Oh, stop.
It hurts.
Retype it. Come here. Come up. It's okay. It's all right.
Oh, it hurts.
What are you doing to yourself?
I can't believe it. I wrecked our work. I'm so sorry, Mickey. I'm such an asshole. Do you still love me? What's going on? Vicky.
The reason I picked that scene was, again, I think it was a very relatable scene where anyone who's been in a toxic relationship, and maybe somebody who has been that toxic person who's come through it, but it was so manipulative because he's abusing you and then he turns it around where you're mothering him and you're comforting him, and that's part of the dynamic of people getting stuck in that toxic relationship. So that I found that a very powerful scene. So I'd love to get your take as the director on it, and then I'd also like to get your take on it as an actress, because you were both the actress and the director of the film.
That's a great question. Overall, I wanted to show the stage and the relationship where the boat basically has already sunk.
Okay.
From the protagonist, who is the woman, perspective that I played, she knows it's already over. It's very upsetting what's going on, and she doesn't see a way out. But because she had so much love for this guy, she doesn't really admit to herself what is going on. Is he okay? She still makes some excuses. She still sees the great star in him that she had adored when he was doing his Olympic jump. She feels sorry for him. He's an immigrant. He hasn't had any work. He's clicking all day. That's the scene, yeah, on the YouTube, so he has more clicks, very pathetic things. And she's the breadwinner, so she's just trying to get this ship out of the mud that's already stuck. And then when she sees these messages from the women, the woman he's cheating with, there's just a disbelief. Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And I think before that, when the mousetrap snaps on his foot, that's right away, the mother in her comes out. She's, oh, I'm so sorry this happened to you. And her love comes out, and because she still wants it to be the wonderful relationship that it was in the beginning. But when she then sees
I think that's another thing that's relatable about that, and how people get stuck in that toxic situation. It's an addictive type relationship, and to do the analogy of addiction, I've heard addicts say they're always chasing that high, the first high, but it's never as good as the first time, but they're always chasing that. And I think people in toxic relationships, they get a euphoria at the beginning when it's so great, and they're always wanting to go back to that and looking for that. And also they're invested and they care.
Right.
I think that.
So yeah, she's enabling him, but she loves him, and there's a genuine compassion that he's lacking because he has the traits of a sociopath. Even though I was trying to make the audience, as a director, also feel for him, so he's not just the bad guy who's abusing her. You can see that he has lost.
I think you accomplished that because while I was watching, I'm like, is he bipolar? Like, what's going on?
Right.
I did feel empathy or sympathy. Not sure which is the right more, I guess, sympathy. But also I was like, yeah, but he's doing this on purpose.
Yeah, and
there's a consciousness to it. Maybe there is some bipolar. This is what I'm thinking as I'm watching. Maybe there's some bipolar to it, but he's making conscious decisions to be.
Very good, you picked up on
abusive.
That. Yeah, I did that on purpose because he's very, very calculating. So he plays her like a fiddle. He knows her by now, and he also plays the pity party. He's hurt, and he exaggerates that because he knows he can reel her in again.
And it was also very childish, and that brought out her mother instinct.
Yeah.
And knowing that she wants a family, he's picking at that, like he's manipulating that her desire to nurture.
Right, and she feels, she's in her mid-40s. She's not going to be able to have a kid anymore if she doesn't do it soon. And this is the man she wanted to do it with. And she's made herself very vulnerable by opening up to him, who she thought she could trust. In terms of playing the part myself, I just followed the script step by step. What happens exactly in the moment when he talks about his career, when he had those jumps and his dad was like, yay, when he was a little boy. He was raised on the ice, and maybe the ice had this chilling effect on his character that he had to be a tough guy and to make excuses for his behavior, his current behavior. And then when she sees this text message from the woman who says, I want to see the skin take photos of the skin on my naked back or whatever, that's enough, you know. There's always a rock bottom for any addict or for in any toxic relationship. How much will you take? Unfortunately, some women or men can also be in toxic relationships. They die in the process. This can also have lasting effects after the relationship. In this film, I wanted to show what her rock bottom is, and after that, she hopefully regains her strength. And how does she do that? It's such a common theme also.
Well, speaking of lasting impact, that gets to the next scene I'd like to show. So I'm going to just show the scene, and then we'll talk about it afterwards.
Your mother barged in here and started threatening me.
Marty, my child, you're teaching dance like this?
What are you doing here?
Enzo, he told me what you've been going through.
Why does everyone butt in? Shit. Sorry. Do you want some tea?
Yes, thank you.
Chamomile?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Excuse me?
Why do you let him treat you like this?
I'm not so innocent. I nag him.
There is your self-respect.
Yeah. Who did I learn from?
I didn't go through everything so you could support this piece of crap.
I love him.
Pack your things. You're coming with me.
My home is here.
He'll never look that good again, your Prince Harming.
Well, at least he's famous.
Your father was a star fucker.
I'm not a star fucker. Max and I have a real relationship.
Go ahead. Give up your friends. Say goodbye to me.
This is my life.
You are a slave to what you're afraid to lose. But why are you afraid to lose this?
Monty!
Getting back to the scene and getting back to lasting effects, you know, obviously the character saw her mom in a similar situation. So that kind of relationship can have an effect 10, 20 years later on a person. And I think that's one of the good things about art in storytelling is I think someone can watch this, and if they're in that kind of situation, maybe get inspiration to get out of it or recognize that, oh, you know, I don't have to do this. The movie, to me, also, it's interesting because it's a time capsule a little bit of no mask, no COVID, none of that. I mean, today, filmmaking, as a filmmaker, what do you think is the future of films? Like, is production going to go right away, or is it hard to get funding because people don't want to insure a set because of illness? Is it hard as a filmmaker? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so two things, if I can go back to the
sure.
the scene itself, because what I really love about it, not to toot my own horn, but the generational growth, because Victoria, who I play, has always blamed her mother for having inherited her weakness, because the mother had been abused by the dad. So Victoria grew up seeing her mom being cheated on and abused, and she always saw her mom a little bit weak and had resentment in some way, even though she loves her. But you see the growth that the mother goes through and how it trickles down to the daughter, because eventually the mother shows the daughter how to be strong. There's this little 84-year-old woman coming from Liechtenstein all the way to, which wouldn't be possible nowadays because of all the COVID restrictions. But she's coming all this way to save her daughter. And there's this big Olympian standing there, and she comes into the apartment and she's giving it all she's got, and the daughter, and it's quite heartbreaking because the daughter doesn't get it that fast. She just rejects her mom, says, "This is my life, this is my husband, how dare you interfere?" Almost like she goes back, even though she's middle-aged, she goes back to a teenage type of attitude. But then I think that's the turning point, where she sees the mom reminded her of herself with the doll, reminded her of her younger self, of her dreams, of her strength. So this way she finds herself by the mom coming back. And so there's a nice circle that's going on of healing. In terms of movie making nowadays, I don't know yet. I'm a member of Screen Actors Guild. I've written a few other scripts that all of a sudden seem outdated, but they weren't just a year and a half ago.
Interesting.
Because I feel the world has changed so much, and I'm always informed by what's going on right now. Even my very first movie, it had to do with like a conspiracy theorist who's abducting a woman to the top of a mountain in the Alps because he feels like there's chemtrails and the government is chasing us with viruses that are fake, but he's a conspiracy theorist. So I had that in my 2006 movie. So this movie
That's
here,
Mango Tango.
That's Mango Tango. Now in the
which is another great movie
right.
people should check out.
Thank you. And in 2013, the film that I started, Prince Harming started writing, was about the Me Too movement, taking your power back if you're being abused. And so that was interesting because the Me Too movement happened in October 2017 when I actually finished shooting and then editing. But nowadays, I think we have just technical problems because you have to be vaccinated. It's like Netflix, you have to be vaccinated now if you want to act on set. Not everybody is able to get the vaccine, and I know this is a loaded subject. You have the masks, you get segregated on the set. Let's say there's a lunch break. The ones who are not vaccinated have to get their own lunch. They're not allowed to be with the ones. But I think it's all in flux. Everything is changing now. But just with the restrictions and all the testing that we have to get, I have not worked yet in this new format. I've auditioned for something. I got very close to getting it. It was a really cool series, but it didn't work out. There's less work. People are scrambling. There's less money because it's such an unsure situation. On the other hand, there's a wealth of stories you could be telling. So, but I think for me as a filmmaker, I was quite overwhelmed with everything, and I have to let it wash over me first before I feel like here's a story that I want to tell. So first I need to learn and take a breath and see what's going on so I can have clarity on what I want to tell that could help everybody. The more specific you are, the more universal people can relate to you.
I think so too. I think also there's always a time to make art and create art. And I think that if you look at all the humans on the globe, there's about 5 things that we all have in common. We eat, we sleep, we need to have relations with each other, have sexy time to make the babies. Right. And
not just that.
We sing and make art. Right. Like that's whatever culture you look back on that we find historically or any place on the globe you go, those are the things that we all have in common. And art is in there. There's always art. There's always storytelling in every culture. I think it's a part of who we are as humans. And I think that today people who could make films that couldn't before because technically it's so much easier. You can, even as somebody's camera phone, you can make a cute little film.
Oh, yeah. On the iPhone, you can make whole movies.
Yeah.
There have been famous directors who have made a full movie that has been in major film festivals. You just need good sound. Yes.
So what are your feelings about that? Do you like that? Do you not like it? Some people miss the quality of the old reel-to-reel films. I mean, I don't know. That might be way past your day.
Yeah, I was not around when
Yeah.
the black and the film 8mm
Yeah.
film was being made. I think it's fantastic that everybody can explore and take pictures, and you see so much great quality. But it's not guaranteed that people who have the facility to be editing and great technicians have the know-how to tell a good story. I think that's still far and few between, and it takes time and sometimes maturity. That's why it's great, all these kids, they're so amazing technically, and I need someone to work with who's technically good. But to also take a step back, what story do I want to tell? How can I, that's a timeless thing. I think that has not changed. How can I actually touch someone? How can I maybe shed light on a situation or on this world where somebody understands a little bit more and feels empathy for what people are going through or themselves, or get a realization what's going on? So that's really important. But technically, it's amazing what you can do now. You can fly your drones. By the way, in New York City, we were going to start the film with a drone shot, but then I abided by the rules, even though some people break it. But I was just careful. I didn't want to, interfere with, have your camera confiscated. But it's cool. You can use the drones from an overhead shot, and it's very exciting. But then you don't want to lose track of the storytelling by getting too technical. You always got to stay focused on that, and this is why you have a director. And,
you can have all the frills or all the best technology, but if the content itself, if the story is not interesting, it won't matter. Sometimes I will watch a really old movie from the 1940s or even the 1950s, and they're on a stage type set that looks really fake, especially today when you're so used to them filming on sets that look like a real apartment or a real street. Right. But when the acting's good, you don't care that the set looks so bad.
Yeah, it's the story. If you're pulled into the story and you care, you can also lose your audience so quickly. If something is too long, it drags on too much. If the acting is over the top, it's such a fine line. It's such a fine line. Yeah.
Well, speaking of dragging on, I don't want to drag on too much. So is there anything that you would like to say to the world, to Manhattan?
To Manhattan. I love Manhattan. I came here as a teenager because I felt you have so much more freedom in America. Not that Germany, where I came from, I felt somewhat restricted in school. I was bullied. I was different than kids. I used to dress differently. I used to have different thoughts. My father encouraged that. But what I wanted to say is, I still love Manhattan. I see a huge change here. And coming back to my movie, here's a quote I'm going to read in an old-fashioned type of paper.
Oh, my
it's not
goodness.
the iPhone.
What is that? In cursor writing, too. Is that cursor? Is that script?
Just by hand.
Right, but it's not print. It looks like script. Your
I
handwriting
wrote it by hand.
Right.
So in terms of my film, and sometimes when you see yourself caught in a situation where the world has changed around you, like we're experiencing now, you got to take a step back. And so this could apply to a lot of situations. There's not just relationship abuse, there's also abuse or shaming, gaslighting in a professional situation, in the world. So the quote is by Martha Stout. She wrote a book called The Sociopath Next Door, which I highly recommend. It's terribly easy to shake a man's or a woman's faith in him or herself when confronted with sociopathy. We are afraid, and our sense of reality suffers. We think we are imagining things or exaggerating that we ourselves are somehow responsible for a sociopath's behavior.
Good quote.
Yeah. But there's always a way out. You know, we just have to connect with our heart, with our love. If you're religious or the universe, nature, God, see the commonality in us, that we're all the same.
Yes, very much so. Well, thank you so much again for joining us. And everyone, check out the movie.
Thank you
Prince
so much.
Charming.
Thank you, Brenda. It's
Thank
wonderful.
you.
I felt like
So, I wanted to ask you about the doll.
Pedia.
Yes. What's the story with the doll?
Okay.
I mean, I
this-
think I knew the story, but tell us what the story is.
It means so much to me. Actually, this doll it reminds me of my own selfishness, which doesn't have anything to do with the story, but the doll is really from my childhood. And I used to play with my brother with Barbie dolls, with dolls all day long. We lived in the woods, further away from the city, and he was my playmate. He's only a year younger.
You were
And-
like Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah, and we made up the greatest stories. But I took all the beautiful Barbie dolls, and they represented me. I was like, I'm this one, and I have the beautiful Ken doll, and you can have the doll with the ears sticking out, and it was bald. I took little strings, and I pasted them on, and you're Pedia. And Pedia means really a child. Just in Greek, the root of the word means childish or child. So he had that ugly doll, and I apologized to my brother Martin because, but I started to love this imperfect little doll. And he actually brought tears to my eyes because he was the smartest one. It turned out in our stories that we made together. We had this dollhouse, but he was the smartest. He had the most charisma, and he was a ballsy, cool guy.
I like the doll.
Yeah.
And also, speaking of dolls, I would like to talk about the dolls we have on the set,
Yes.
which are so fabulous. Can we get, so you can do some close-ups on the dolls? And we can get
Do you
some
want me to pick
close-up on
one
the
up?
dolls?
Stanley made them.
Stanley made the dolls. We love the dolls.
He did a great job.
You want to pick up one
I
of
love
the dolls?
this one. May I pick it up?
Yeah, pick them up.
So this is...
Does that doll have a name, Stanley?
Cardi B.
That's Cardi B.
Cardi B. Love this doll.
I love
Check
Cardi
out, and the
B.
lips they light up, but now I don't know how to do it.
Oh,
But
that's so
look at
funny.
really happening with the sunglasses.
I love it. And then they're all so cute. I think my favorite though is the one with the boa.
Oh, this one.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
I
a
like all
gorgeous
of them.
one. Yeah. Oh, look at that. That's the shopping. That's the one
Yeah,
I would.
I like her hat and her boa. Like, I would rock that outfit in real life. I would wear that.
that's
I'd
a
probably
nice.
wear the Cardi B
I could
outfit
see
too.
you wear it. I could see you wear it totally. Very
But
nice.
we love the dolls. And
There's like a mini one in the back.
we love
That's
the
so
pink
cool.
dolls, and
Yeah.
I love having them on the set. And thank you so
Yeah.
much, Stanley, for
Great job,
bringing the
Stanley.
dolls. And thank you again so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, Brenda. It's been a real pleasure. You guys are great. Oops.
Okay, that's a wrap.